Well, welcome everyone to the Bowling University studio from the International Bowling Campus here in Arlington, Texas. This is the Profit Break. If you're joining us for the first time, we're glad you're here. Give us 15 minutes and you're going to be well on your way to improving yourself and your profitability. Now, folks, the data shows as our industry continues to move more towards that entertainment center model, sometimes that means adding on, sometimes it means that we're going to reallocating space and accomplishing this while maximizing the guest experience and using your investment dollars wisely. And let's just be honest, it can be a little confusing and overwhelming. But on today's show, Jerry Merola is going to walk us through the process of growing your business by offering attractions and experiences that are more efficiently packaged while cutting both occupancy and labor costs. Now, Jerry is the Chief Financial Officer and Managing Partner of the Amusement Entertainment Management Group, where Jerry's focus is on enhancing the performance of his clients' businesses, which includes owners and operators of entertainment centers all across the country and literally around the world. Jerry, great to see you again. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Bart. It's great to see you as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, certainly I am familiar with you, but many of our viewers today may not know a lot about you. And I know that you are a finance guy with a finance background that somehow got lost and got into entertainment. So tell us, how does that happen?
It's very true. I spent 10 years of my life as a commercial banker in the New York City area, and I developed a bit of a niche in the entertainment and leisure space. And for the past 28 years now, I've been consulting to the entertainment industry.
And very well, I might add. We appreciate you carving some time. Now, you work with a lot of different clients within the entertainment space, a lot of different industries, if you will, business models within that entertainment space. Just at kind of 30,000 feet, what are you hearing? What's the state of out-of-home entertainment today?
Well, Bart, you know what's really interesting? We are finally in the limelight when it comes to looking at industries that are poised to really expand and grow into the future. One of the greatest things in society today is that the consumer really places personal satisfaction as the primary part of their life. And because of that, recreation and leisure has become a very big part of what consumers do. And as a result, we now have a responsibility to deliver on that promise each and every day in the recreation and leisure facilities that sit across the world.
Yeah, I hope everybody heard that, because that's a great reminder, Jerry, very powerful, that, you know, the one thing we learned coming out of the pandemic is we're not wired to be alone. We want to be in community, and that really starts with the experiences that we provide there. So before we kind of jump into our topic today, tell us a little bit about your group, AEM, and the services you provide to your clients.
Well, sure. So Amusement Entertainment Management is an industry-specific consulting firm. We work with new developers and existing operators in the entertainment space in developing entertainment venues, expanding existing venues, and sometimes repositioning them to really serve a wider marketplace. We work with a lot of traditional bowling centers, many of which have become hybrid entertainment formats, indoor water parks, skating centers, traditional family entertainment centers, theme parks, amusement parks, and casinos.
Yeah, and I know that, Jerry, a few years ago, your portfolio may have not had quite as many business models that included bowling. But as you and I have chatted, it seems like more and more of the projects and new people coming into this industry have made bowling a product of choice. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing as far as people that are interested in bowling.
Well, Bart, that's exactly right. You know, one of the greatest things that bowling delivers in the entertainment space is a core anchor. Most facilities that are being developed, particularly in the United States today, have bowling as a core anchor. Because what we've discovered over the years is that every consumer can participate. So whether we're working with kids, adults, or corporate users, bowling provides a really tremendous anchor for an entertainment venue. Most of the new builds that you will find out there in North America in particular will have anywhere from 16 to 28 lanes of bowling in the venue to really service each of those three groups.
Yeah, and again, sometimes when you get someone from the outside that shares this perspective, it's more powerful. We know bowling is the secret sauce. It's great to hear reputable organizations and companies like yours remind us that bowling is the secret sauce. So let's jump into our topic today. So let's say that you're working with a new or existing entertainment operator, and this construction's expensive, labor's expensive. What are some options that they can do, what you call elevate the space, going forward?
Well, this is a really important consideration these days, Bart, because the cost of construction has skyrocketed, as we all know, in a post-COVID world. And because of that, we start looking up versus out when it comes to delivering more within the venues that we offer. So what a lot of our clients are doing right now is actually adding vertical space to their facilities in an effort to add additional attractions and components. Because as we've discovered, building out in a modern day world here has become a very expensive proposition. And what most folks may not realize is actually the cost of elevated space, think of that as mezzanine space, is almost half the cost of traditional builds today. And with that in mind, what we've been doing is rethinking the packaging concept. And the idea there is to be able to say to ourselves, how do we use cubic feet instead of square feet to deliver that goodness to the consumer and allow additional profit centers to exist within the venue?
So I love that, in layman's terms for me, building up, not out, you use more of the financial term, cubic feet versus square feet. What are some of the projects? What does that look like, right? I mean, I understand what you're saying about building up, but what type of things and experiences and product offerings might I be able to include in that concept if I'm considering that?
Well, so for starters, Bart, one of the things we have to consider today is stacking our attractions. Some attractions are really naturals when it comes to from a stacking perspective. So we've been placing things like elevated ropes courses over traditional arcades, or actually putting those climbing units over the top of bumper cart units. And the idea there is actually to get two attractions in the space that would normally be occupied by one. One of the other elements that we find ourselves doing is elevating a lot of our event space onto the second level or onto the mezzanine level, sitting on top of things such as kitchens and restrooms, because I think we all know most of the space occupied above those elements typically goes unused. By stacking a lot of these other support components on top, what we're really doing is freeing up our main floor space to add additional profit centers. So the idea here always is to look at how can we package a facility most effectively and use it when we need to use it. So one of the greatest things about mezzanine space is you can, of course, always close it off when it's not in demand. So during your off-peak periods, that mezzanine sits idle until the point in which we actually need it. Again, I go back to the reference of trying to move anything upstairs that is not a key profit center. So things like offices and storage and support event space, all of those things can sit on top of some of the infrastructure that we already have on the main level.
Yeah, so by moving those up, those non-revenue producing areas that you mentioned, that frees up that floor space in more premium areas to put in the attractions that you want. I mean, it's a blinding flash to the obvious, right? I mean, but why haven't we been doing this sooner?
Well, it's interesting. Frankly, we didn't do it sooner because from the construction basis had always told us that we might as well just build it all on the main level. We can manage it pretty simplistically. We can add additional space. We can see it all. As the costs and the economics have changed in society when it comes to building out commercial real estate, we've quickly discovered that square feet is not our friend any longer, particularly if you are leasing space. So think about it this way, Bart, for a second. If you're leasing a commercial bay anywhere in North America right now, the average cost of that space is about $25 between base rent and common area maintenance charges. If you start thinking about the idea of renting more base square footage, every square foot you rent is basically at about $25. If we use the existing space we have, but we go vertical, we're not adding to that base rent situation. 99% of the landlords that are out there are charging you for the floor plate, the base level of the facility, not elevated space. So we can come in and ultimately develop elevated space without changing our rent profile. That perhaps is the most powerful part of the equation itself.
That is powerful, Jerry, and I want to jump back into it just for a second because you mentioned about the leased operations, and there are certainly considerations that come with that versus if you own the dirt or own the building. Landlords today, are they willing to work with you to go elevated and build up instead of out?
Without a doubt, I've seen very little pushback from landlords when we are actually improving the real estate. If you put yourself in the landlord's position for a moment, we're adding infrastructure to the landlord's real estate, and very few will challenge the idea of us doing so, particularly if we're paying for it. But if you run the math over a series of years, particularly a typical 10-year lease for a commercial bay, you will find that actually investing in the mezzanine yourself versus taking on additional rented space actually saves you about a 30% impact on overall cost.
So, Jerry, I want to sneak in one more question. It's fascinating information, and we could probably talk about this all day. And as a numbers person, you're running the numbers and thinking about the financial aspect. And as an operator, I'm thinking about all the crazy fun things you could do from an operational aspect. But have you seen it? What's the most maybe creative use of building up that you've seen in maybe a unique offering that somebody that, we think about bowling, always being on the ground floor. What's something unique that you've seen in some of your clients that have decided to build up instead of out?
Well, probably one of the more unique projects we completed 2 years ago in the state of Connecticut, we redeveloped a former multi-level New York sports club fitness center into a multi-attraction entertainment center. And one of the things we were able to do was actually break through the second floor, eliminate part of the second floor of the facility, and allow us to stack attractions on top of each other. One of the greatest things in doing so was we were actually able to bring the consumer into the facility starting on the second level and allow them to view the entire main floor activity space from that elevated area. It's quite a visual to see. It's a one-of-a-kind facility that was developed. And what the patrons tell us is they feel extremely engaged in a venue when they can look at it from multiple levels and get a much different experience from seeing these attractions in use from different trajectories.
Yeah, that is great stuff, Jerry. Incredible information. Thanks again for joining us and just sharing a little snippet of your expertise. It's great stuff.
It's always my pleasure, Bart.
Awesome. Well, hey, folks, if you'd like to find out more from Jerry on today's topic, feel free to reach out to Jerry at profitwiz@aol.com. That's ProfitWiz with 2 Z's. Yes, he's that good. He deserves 2 Z's at AOL.com. Now, if you're ready to start improving your profitability, you can reach us anytime at education@bpa.com. So as we wrap up another edition of the Profit Break, remember, when you're focused on growing people, people will grow your business. This episode, as well as all our previous Profit Break episodes, available 24/7 for you and the team at bowlinuniversity.net. Plus, we've got new episodes every month. Mark your calendar, watch your email, and join us on Facebook to hear about all the latest episodes. Until then, I'm Bart Berger. Remember, do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. We'll see you next time.